this time, I'm going to open it up for questions. Yes, sir.
At the beginning of your speech, you mentioned about having some kind of prizes, stars, things on the board saying this person did this. Children are generally very competitive. Having a reward-based system, wouldn't it promote unhealthy competition and unhealthy feelings between children?
Well, if I understand your question, will having rewards create unhealthy competition within students? It's a very good question. While it might do so, the teacher also has been trained to know that while you have all kinds of levels of students, and what you do is the teacher will always, the responsibility, she's a professional, he or she is a professional, it's a responsibility to find those things in which to praise Johnny or Mary. So that she can also, be rewarded. Your responsibility is not to play favorites with anybody in the classroom. It's to, you have 30 students, and your responsibility is to try to get each one of the students to achieve emotionally, psychologically, and academically. It's our responsibility as educators to do that, and we've been trained to do that. Much like Dr. Phil has been trained to know how to handle your body. Yes.
I understand the benefit of positive reinforcement when they're behaving well, but how do you handle a child that's disrupted immediately so that they don't? Because I'm remembering back to my high school class, and the little gold star wouldn't have worked on Wayne's Bear Farm. He was the kind that would be throwing spitwads and very disruptive. So how do you handle an angry, loud, disruptive student?
If I understand the question correctly, how do you handle an angry, disruptive student? It's a very good question. And, teachers, when God makes teachers, he throws the mold away, and you can't ever replace, an outstanding teacher. There's just different ways to answer this question, but one way is that a teacher is able to build rapport, and I've seen it in all my years as being a school principal, build rapport with each student, that the student would not dare, offend the teacher by acting out. All that the student wants to do is to please their teachers. But in a worst case scenario, you'll have to say, well, I'm just going to have to send you to the principal's office. That's the worst case scenario. But if the teacher has that rapport, which they generally do, it won't come to that. Thank you very much. Richard?
Dr. Zamora, I appreciate some of your ideas, but with the epidemic of childhood obesity in this country, how can you possibly suggest that we give free ice cream to students? Sir.
So I understand the question, how can we, with obesity in the United States, how can we suggest that we give free ice cream to the students? And that too is a very good question. Well, I wasn't just suggesting that you give ice cream to the students. There are other things that can be given. If we're having an epidemic of obesity, maybe what we could settle for is carrots. Or I understand too that you get some celery, peanut butter. That makes for a very good snack, and it's substitute for other things other than ice cream. That's a very good question. Max?
Dr. Richard, I've got a personal question that one long time to wait and ask. I was there for your farewell occasion when you gave up your job as a principal of a school many years ago. And even the former Secretary of Education, George Bush, was there for the farewell function.
Rod Page, Dr. Rod Page.
Yeah, give me one reason. Why did you give up your teaching profession and join the Continental Airlines?
Well, after so many years, that's a very good question. Why did I give up my teaching profession and go to Continental? Well, first of all, I didn't go to Continental. I just decided to retire. I wasn't going anywhere, just to be master of my own life, boss of my own life. But I decided it was time for me to just give up that position. And I'm glad you were there, and I felt bad that you didn't say a few words, Max, by the way. I'd like you to say a few words. And I understand you were ready, by the way. But after 3 months of being out, one of my ex-employees and I were having lunch, and she told me that, they were hiring part-time people at Continental and that I might want to check it out. And I went and checked it out, and I got hired as a reservation agent. And I really like the idea of having some flight privileges where you don't have to pay very much to fly. Yes, sir.
Dr. Zamora, my name is Dan Grumley. I represent an organization called Concerned Citizens. My question is, why involve students in the lower grades, such as first and second grades, in making the rules, as they have no idea what the rules should be?
That's a very good question. If I understand your question, is why involve first and second graders as they're not old enough to know any better? Is that the way? Am I correct?
That's a correct paraphrase of my question.
Well, maybe, where's Felipe? Maybe, Felipe, in view of your presentation, you might shed some light on this too. Is that kids with the media and the way it is and what have you, are getting very sophisticated at a very, very young age in comparison to us. At that grade level, we were very naive.
You're saying first and second graders should run the school?
Well, they probably could, but yes, they are very sophisticated, Dan, and we can give them more credit now in the age that we're living in. And they know more about technology, I have to admit, than probably what I know. They're very sophisticated. Yes. Okay, sir. Okay, the last question.
My question is just a comment. The question goes along with what Vicki said. The standard for correcting children comes from a biblical standard where it talks about how to correct unruly children. And my question and comment has to do with the fact that I've been around inner city children, and I grew up in inner city African American, and also just inner city people. The attitude is very disruptive, and they're very arrogant and unruly, and I question the discipline tactics